Welcome back. Today we are going to do a little garden tour. As you can see behind me, the greenhouse is empty because we are past our last frost date and it is time to garden seriously again. So we recreated our nursery space right here, which looks so much better. Now everything is nice and organized. We've got our various trees and seedlings and stuff going on. Way better. But that's not the part I want you guys to see. I want you to see what's going on in the gardens. Starting with right here. This sand pile got moved from right here. And these are our cassava test beds. We lost most of our cassava cuttings this winter because it got so wet they actually rotted in the ground, and so that was a failure. But we had backups. We had some in pots, we had some in sacks. My friend Sam from Scrubland Farms gave me some cuttings of my old Indian variety, so we've got some of them growing in here. Moved the sand pile way back by borrowing the tractor, and then dug this area out, put some cow manure in here, and set up some nice looking cassava beds. Right here in the small gardens, we put wood chip pathways in, and we were able to cut enough of that oat hay slash straw to mulch through here and keep some cover on the ground, which is great because we've been getting some deluge rains and this is slowing down the erosion. We've got the remnants of the cover crop right here. This stuff we chopped down with a scythe. Put in some tomatoes, got some romas, then we have some beets and carrots left in there. Comfrey's coming back and looking good. People keep asking me, why don't you talk about comfrey and growing lots and lots of comfrey? Well, in my climate, comfrey doesn't actually usually do all that well, so that's why I don't. It's not the best chop and drop. It does okay when it's cooler, and then through the hot time of the year, it's not very happy. So look at right plant, right place, right? These are our moringas. I put some more in here. These are the ones that we covered. Coming back from the trunks, you can see there is moringa. So the bottom parts of the trunks did not freeze and they're doing good. Look at that nice regrowth. So got some peppers in here, and we've got some eggplants in here, giving them lots of space. And then in between we planted some other stuff. I can't even remember what I planted, but we planted lots of stuff. I think it's okra. So let's go over here. Take a look at these yam beds. These are the trellis to make you jealous trellises from Josh Satin, which have worked well for us. It's the second year we're using them. They did well. The yams should be coming up any minute through here. It's just getting warm enough to kick them off and get them out of their dormancy cycle. They should be growing soon. We have some stuff that's self-seeded in here, which I may or may not let live, like these Seminole pumpkins. I may just let them go as ground cover. We had some remnants of sweet potatoes that have come back as well, and then there's some mustards and other things that have gone on these beds, but that's not gonna stop the vines of the yams. When they decide that they're gonna grow, they are really gonna grow. They are just completely unstoppable. Here's one right here coming out of these fire ants. That's the first yam that I've seen emerging. I gotta come out and chase these fire ants out of here. That's nice. There's another one. Okay, so it's finally warmed up enough and we had a few days worth of rain. The yams will vigorously emerge from here and take this whole area over like you would not believe. But again, we're trying to keep cover on the ground. The straw is a little bit thin, but we're out of it. I've got to find a place to get some more. These are the Cornrows. You could see the cover crop in between is starting to come back. I should probably knock that down some. But you could see these nice rows of corn coming up right through the middles. As we get further back like that, you can probably see it better. Those are 14 different varieties mixed together. Most of this cover crop is some brassicas and some lentils, which are going to decline as the season goes on. They are cool season plants, and the corn is a warm season, so the corn should get over the top of them and do well. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to actually feed the corn or if I'm going to just let it subsist on the nitrogen that's left in the soil and the decaying organic matter, or if I'm actually going to make some manure tea or something and come out and do them, but we'll see. Grocery row gardens are starting to come back and looking really nice. You can see this first row here, all these potatoes. I stuck some cassavas in between the potatoes. When the potatoes come out, the cassavas are really going to go. Different seasons. Fig. Mulberry coming back after the frosts. Got some amaranth that's up, getting chewed up by something. But nature will take care of it. I don't care. Goji berry, looking pretty good. Rosa rugosa. Seedling plum. Another goji. This is a silverberry. This is a Mysore raspberry, which is happily coming up from the ground. The above ground was not very happy, didn't like the frosts and everything, but this new growth should be really vigorous. Elephant garlic is looking good. This was supposed to be a chestnut, but I realized this is not a chestnut. This is a chestnut oak. So that's got to come out of here. We got it mixed up. Giant rutabaga here, which I'm just letting grow. So you can see the leaves are all eaten up. I don't care. This is the Rachel Goodman mulberry, coming back after the frosts and looking pretty good. These elephant garlic look good. It's a Peruvian apple cactus. I got some cuttings from Sam, stuck them in here. Looking good. We've been getting some strawberries, but we've had a deluge of rain the last few days, and the strawberries really don't like that. They get rotten and the bugs get into them. Not looking so hot. These guys are like chicken strawberries. If it dries out for a few days, they do better. This comfrey looks great right now. I don't know how it's going to do through the rest of the season. Like I said, it's kind of got a period of time where it goes well and then it doesn't, but maybe this better ground in here is going to make a difference. Apricot looking really good. It's not really supposed to grow here. So far so good. You can see too that we managed to mulch the rows. We were losing too much soil due to erosion, and we finally had all those wood chips, so we spent a couple of weeks and just kept, you know, transferring it over here, and then one day we just did a big spread mulch day. Takes a lot of time. Fig coming back here. We've got these nice trellises that we just put up. We planted some Dioscorea pentaphylla from Derek. Derek has a rare plant store on Etsy, which I will try to link below if I remember. Hopefully I remember Derek. But I planted Dioscorea pentaphylla bulbils at the bottom of this. That ought to be very interesting to watch. That is a yam, a rare yam variety. Blackberries are in bloom. And the wind is coming in now. Look at that peach. That baby is happy. And you see how he pruned it way down there. And look at how much growth it is. It's only been in the ground here just a little over a year. And all that growth is incredible. See, we pruned it super low. Does not hurt it. We're even going to get a few peaches, it looks like. These are the asparagus coming back. We got some asparagus shoots this spring. We should get more next spring. Look at that beautiful, beautiful trellis. This peach is a seedling. It had a, this grew up from the rootstock. The top of it died off. I don't care. I'll just graft onto it later or cut it down if I want to. Raspberries coming back. We had some grasses and cover crops in here that I've been chopping and using for mulch. And you can see just potatoes everywhere. Potatoes are a great staple crop. All through here where it's bare and we pulled the mulch back, there have been seeds and other things planted that should be coming up soon. There's a little bit of corn in some patches. and tomatoes that are coming back from the ground, and marigolds and other things. And we just clear the mulch here and there so some of the stuff can self-seed and come back, and then if it gets a little bigger, we'll probably mulch around it. This particular thornless blackberry is just loaded with blooms. But one thing that I don't like is that I'm not seeing tons of pollinators. So later today I should get some bees. We should have bees all over these, but there's not a lot to feed the bees out in this area in general, so not a lot of bees around. So we have to add them. This blackberry's coming up. We just stuck pieces of that blackberry in the ground and they rooted. Blueberries. See the blueberries coming in. Looking good. Brazilian cucumber. Self-seeded. We just let them rot on the ground because they're not good food. They grew back. That's raspberry. Catnip at the base of a chase tree. And then we got some green onions here. We just got some green onions from the store and stuck them in the ground and they grew. Cannas coming up there. These cannas are coming back too. These are the Canna musifolia. Really, really vigorous, crazy canna. This tree should come back, but I don't know if it will. You can see it got some damage. Cracked bark there, so something may have been that the frost was too much for it. This blackberry's just looking good. This pear hasn't woken up yet. You can see how we pruned the center of it out to send the two branches sideways so we can keep it under control. Again, we've got these open areas without a lot of mulch on them so we can get some seed activity. That is a native passion fruit coming back from the ground. Seedling tomatoes. A little sweet potato coming here, sweet potato here. Got the new growth going here on this apple. Stuff is just waking up. I mean, this is barely kicking. Mayhaw looking good. It's putting on a lot of new growth. And then we've got these lilies coming up. I planted a few of them last year and they've kind of branched out, so they're making a lot of mass now. We should get a good bit of flowers through here. That pear's looking good. I'm letting these daikons go to seed. We'll probably just save the seed from them. They did well. We ate most of the rest of them or chopped them up and gave them to the chickens. But I left a few in here to drop some seeds and to leave some blooms for the pollinators. Another apple, looking pretty good. Another blackberry. This pear on the end looks great. It's already got over a foot of new growth on the top. More blackberries. We just cut the blackberries back to keep them out of the pathways and then kind of keep them sprawling in the rows. Now this is where it starts, where I put a cover crop. Hey, there's a bee. Come on back. Don't you want to be on YouTube? So this is winter rye and clover mixed in here. And that really helped with the erosion. I have to figure out how to cut it now. I was cutting some of it with the edge of my machete, which was a little slow. I needed to sharpen it. A sickle would be nice. A little comma or something like that, and I could just throw it in. But you can see here I was cutting them and then throwing the cut grass into the beds. Look at all those. A ridiculous amount of blueberries. Looking good. This is a Japanese persimmon. Has some blooms on it. I don't know if that means it's going to fruit this year or not, but it's very happy. Another blueberry. And all in here I've got seeds planted that should be up in the next few days. All these gappy areas that you're seeing, they have sunflowers and okra and various roots and all kinds of things planted in them. This is going to be just a solid mass of insane green growth that we're going to have to beat back with a machete. More raspberries. These are heritage raspberries, which have done well in our area. Looks like we're going to get a few fruits coming back from the ground here. I'm very pleased to see my Chinese yams. Dioscorea polystachya. On the other side here I have a purple yam coming up. Right there. Some purple Dioscorea alata. Look at these Chinese yams coming up here. They're the only yam that I know of that you can eat raw. Hazelnut. Hazelnuts are looking pretty good here. Never successfully grew hazelnuts before because I was trying to grow them in Florida. It's a little cooler here, it should help. All these gaps are going to be filled with stuff. They've already been planted. In the next couple of days they're going to come up because we just had a bunch of rain. And you can see some things, like I stuck in some cassava here, cassava here. There's some sweet potatoes coming around them. Some bunchy rye and oats and stuff that I stuck through here. I don't even know which thing this is. Another chase tree on the end. That is not the most interesting of all beds. You can see it's a lot thinner because we just raked it wide open and we don't have as many big perennials in it. Yacon is coming back from the ground down here at the end. Looking really good. Potatoes. Lots more potatoes growing around that pomegranate. The Tithonia diversifolia, Mexican sunflower, coming back from the ground after the frost. I'm glad to see that. This is a wild lettuce, planted itself. I cut the center of it out and fed, it was like this tall, and I fed that to the chickens. Plum looking really nice. Look at how big that plum is. Some of this ryegrass got into the beds and I have to cut it down. It's growing around the potatoes, making biomass. Pomegranate. I have some cassava I left in here to see if they would come back. They haven't come back yet, but it's just warming up. It's not really warm enough for them. I butchered the living daylights out of this plum. Looks great. Look at how much growth it's getting. This is all new growth. This is like 16 inches of new growth in just the last couple of weeks. These strawberries have been doing better than the other ones. I don't know what the difference is. We planted a few different varieties. These guys don't seem to rot nearly as easily. Get some nice strawberries in here. Very pleased to see that the strawberries did so well in this climate. So there for the brief overview. That's the Grocery Row garden system. It is so much fun to just go through here and see what's cooking from day to day. Over here, these are a little more conventional gardens. More beds of potatoes. And then let's go look at the other potato beds. We put in all these rows and they are cooking along pretty good. I don't know why we have a set of gaps right there in that one. Maybe a bad round of potatoes. But most of these potatoes are looking pretty good. We grow them without irrigation. Just what comes from the sky. So we've spaced them very wide. Through here in between the grape trellises, my daughter and I planted some Indian corn. This is flint corn. She got decorative corn from Walmart or grocery store or something, and we planted 3 rows of it through here. She got that back at Thanksgiving to plant it because it looked pretty, so why not? This area of here is being turned into pasture. I tilled this area because I initially thought I was going to plant it, and then I decided I'm going to let it go back to pasture because now we have cows. This area we ran sheep and goats and chickens over, and it's starting to look better, much thicker than it did before. Let's look at the main potato beds here. We're doing an experiment, as we often do. Here they are, bare soil. Look at the erosion. We didn't have enough mulch to throw on them. I don't want to go and get tons and tons of wood chips and drag it way out here. I wanted to use straw on them. It's nice and easy, and it's easy to rake up afterwards. But you can see how we had this huge gully washer rainstorm last night, and you can see how the dirt just washed away. Now, potato crops look good, but over here we mulched them, and it doesn't look washed away and eroded just from the oat straw that we threw down. It looks better. Doesn't seem to make that big a difference on the potato growth at the moment, but we'll see when we harvest it. It's really kind of fun to do this sort of stuff side by side. Even with this tiny little bit of slope, you could see how the ground was washing. Not much slope at all. So I'm gonna start leaving grass in this pathway here. I'm letting it grow back and not tilling it. And if I could figure out how to grow enough hay or straw to cut and drop, it would be really good. Got some onions right here. We've got sugarcane. Danny and Wanda at Deep South Homestead sent us a little sugarcane, and it's looking pretty good. Coming back up. If it came back and froze down twice, and it's come back again. Got some potatoes over here, some tomatoes in this mulched area, and I just planted back in that bare area with some sunflowers and beans that are not up yet. That's the progress on the gardens right now. A lot of life coming back, a lot of growth. I am so excited for it to be spring again and to be beautiful. If you want to learn more about the Grocery Road gardening system, check out my little book, Grocery Road Gardening, which is now just $9.99, in which I lay out how we did this beautiful system behind me, combination of annual gardening and orchards. And I ask everybody to please try it in their own climate and report back, because we are going to be doing a big second edition of the book in a few years, and I want it tested in a whole bunch of different climates. And I thought the idea of crowdsourcing a gardening plan was a good idea, and a lot of people have been planting them already. It works in just about any climate, unless it's super cold and you're talking about just, you know, tundra and caribou. It should work just fine for you. It's we had it adapted in the tropics, the full-on tropics, and we were using bananas and cassava and things like that, and here we're using peaches and plums and trying to get cassava to grow. And further north, my brother can use other things at Flannel Farms, and then there are people trying it, you know, way up into Canada. So it'll be interesting to see how people adapt the small orchard systems to work with trees in different climates. It's going to be really cool. But anyhow, I'll put a link to the book below. It's just a little short book, $9.99. We dropped the price on it now to below 10 bucks by 1 penny. And you can check it out. I'll put the link below. But thank you for joining me in the garden. I will do a better produced video before too long. But I just wanted to get out here while it was beautiful and let you see how green and gorgeous everything is. Thanks for joining me. Catch y'all soon. And until then, may your thumbs always be green.
Sitting here worrying in the backseat of a car.